Hi, this is Dawn Boyer. I have a Facebook page called Artist Eye Reviews Art and Coloring Books and Projects on Facebook, and what I do is provide video reviews of coloring books, art books, and art-related products. Today I'm going to be reviewing the work by an artist by the name of Tiffany Carman. She has a website called Drawing Momentum and a Facebook page, actually two of them, that you could visit and look at some of her artwork. The first coloring book that I'm going to be reviewing for her today is her Volume 1 coloring book called Creative Grace, and some of the pictures in the book. And it is a downloadable PDF. So these are the pictures that have been downloaded and printed. Here's a picture of a lovely lady with a moth on her shoulder. Jewelry, lovely outline for her hair, and she's got a very natural pose, which I like. This is a yoga lady. The interesting thing about her pictures are they are an intermix of dark heavy lines and light lines, and they are organic. In fact, I think this picture is upside down. There we go. Now she's right side up. And so they're very easy to color. This is a very simplistic picture, although it looks complicated. It would be great for beginner colorers. Here's a picture of lots of seashells and the moon and some organic animals in the background and fish. The fish are very interesting. There are some fish in the sea that actually have eyes on both sides, or two eyes on one side of their face because of the way they are in the ocean. And these have a little bit more complicated designs and Zentangles through them, so that might be more for an intermediate or advanced colorist. There's another picture. You could see the woman's face hidden behind the pictures. A Juan Miro type of hand in the background. There's a bee. There's leaves and a tortoise down here. So this one's probably a little bit more for a intermediate colorist. This one is the one that caught my eye on Facebook, where somebody had colored them, and the colors that they used were just phenomenal. So there's a few insects coming out of and around her face. It looks like there's a chrysalis hanging from her ear, so there's a butterfly perhaps going to come out of that in the future. And this is sort of like a bug bird here in the background. You notice there are heavy lines and light lines, so this really truly is the epitome of a professional coloring book type of picture that most colorists like to color. Here you have a face in the tree with an egg with a nest for the hat, birds around, and the darker tones for the trees in the background. Here's a picture that has the dragonflies, ladybugs, the multiple wings, and looks like some hands or teeth down here, and flowers. And doesn't everybody want to go barefoot in the park in the grass? And this has mushrooms and grass and bare feet, and looks like it would be medium to difficult to color. This is cute. It seems to me that I would be very pleased to find this type of picture hanging in a beach house with the flip-flops and the ocean waves. These are sort of reminiscent of Japanese paintings of ocean waves coming around. Here's another picture of a jellyfish, and the tentacles are actually a row of fish. And I thought that was extremely creative. And here's a string of pearls coming down as tentacles and then turning into almost like little planets with rings around them. So the images are pretty sharp, they're well drawn, and there's a delightful and aesthetically pleasing mix of dark and light lines. So this seems like it would be very interesting to color if I were a hobby colorist. This one I love because I love koi fish, and there's so many different ways and styles of drawing them, but this is just a very well balanced design with the S curve of the fish, the gorgeous interspersed light and dark lines, and then the Japanese influenced waves and then bubbles all around. So you can imagine all kinds of gorgeous colors being used to color this particular page. Here's a page with a woman's face, and there's a little bird here, and this bird is just beautifully drawn and so realistic, and two other birds taking off, and some plants and flowers, and I guess you could really imagine, oh, look here, over here, this is actually, looks like another little bird who's got his beak tucked into his feather to go to sleep. So I'm really liking these pictures. Now this picture, I'm going to put it up. I'm not quite sure if I've got it oriented right. I believe it's a horizontal orientation, but it looks like it could go in any particular direction you wanted it to go, and it would still look right. So here's the vertical, and here's the horizontal. Beautifully drawn roses. I like the clock, a little bit of steampunk in there. There's a lock over here, and then it looks like the the artist put in some love letters in here. So I'm thinking this picture might be reminiscent of some a romantic theme. Here we have a delightful little kitty cat with very long eyelashes, and it's inside another amorphic face. So it's almost like here's a dragonfly body. Here's some strange images here. This is either a mask or another face, and then there's the animal up here on top. Now, if you don't want to have too much organic things to have to color, but you like the Zentangle and the different designs, this is really pretty. There's seashells interspersed all through what are symbiotic waves of water. And there's an eyeball up here in the corner, and so this does look like it has an awful lot of lines. It may take you several hours to color, but the designs are simple within the complication of the whole layout. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's the way I see it. I'm a big fan of the Art Nouveau period and I think it's Alfred or Alphonse Mucha. And this particular lady here is very representative of the type of women that he would draw for his stained glass windows. And I can see the octopus here and the tentacles coming down, and it's almost like the tentacles are turning into human legs and feet, and the tentacles are wrapping around her and hugging. Now, I'm not terribly sure if she's happy about this or not. And there's some beautifully drawn lines here in the back as sort of a border, and again the little bubbles all around to indicate that it might be oceanic. This picture is pretty interesting. It looks like the woman has been captured by octopus tentacles, and she's surrounded with sea anemones and flowers, and there's a moon or a sun in the background. Here's a nest with some eggs, and there's another woman here in the background holding a scepter, and then some stylized lines that sort of represent trees, maybe some owls in there. So these are more mystical type of drawings in this coloring book, but the dark and the light lines and the full pages actually lend to being a very nice coloring book download. And here is, I'm going to call her the Renaissance woman because of her headdress and her veil, dripping with pearls and in a bed of pearls. And it looks like she's holding a one-eyed monster, perhaps an octopus with one eye, and then the bubbles and the seaweed maybe up in the background. Again, there's a nice mix of light lines and dark lines, which makes it a beautiful basis for a coloring book and a coloring page. Here is a forest picture where the focus is the fern in the foreground with a stick bug up front. There's a little frog hiding in there. Looks like some ginkgo leaves and some other ferns hanging down, and there's a tree in the background. So there's all kinds of textures that you could put into this picture as a colorist. And if you look really hard, you might find some little hidden images that might be representative of a little fairy village or little toadstools in the back. And here's some more mushrooms in the front. Now this is just sheer organics here in these pictures. It looks like it could be a bed of coral, and she's gone into detail, very fine detail here with the mandala-like organic circle critter. And then here's one with the spikes, so it might be diadems or diatoms from the bottom of the ocean. Here looks like maybe a sea millipede or centipede. And here might be a sponge, a starfish, a nauticus, and some other coral in the background. So the great thing about this particular design and page, in addition to the dark and the light lines and the very faint shading that she's added in here, is that it doesn't matter what color you put on the page. It can't be wrong. So if you pick pure rich hues and rainbow colors, that's fine. If you actually use a monotone set of colors and pick 2 or 3 colors like browns or blues, these designs would lend very well to that type of picture also. Here's a seahorse with a fish and some more coral. These are so organic and so realistic. Other little teeny tiny fish, seahorse babies around the daddy seahorse. More coral in all different types of shapes. Little fish swimming around, lots of bubbles. So I could see you having a lot of fun with this, and in the larger bubbles actually putting little highlights to make them look shiny. And this is the last page of the download. It looks like some praying hands, surrounded by some very organic and sacred geometry type of shapes. You have sort of, this looks like it could have been the center of a sunflower, and then the petals, you know, here's another symbolic center behind the hands, and then the petals coming around from them. So there's a little bit more white space here. This would be great for a beginner colorist. And so the pictures are very well done. I do like the aesthetic blend of dark lines and light lines. The lines are very crisp and clear, and even though there are some faint lines in some of the pictures, they don't detract for them at all. So if you're interested in purchasing these pictures, the volume 1 that I just reviewed is called Creative Grace. It is on her website. Just look for the coloring books or coloring pages link. And while you're at it, come on back and like her Facebook page for her as an artist, and her Facebook page for her website and her artwork. And don't forget, come on back to the Artist Eye Reviews and get my opinion and my showcase of coloring books, art books, and products on Facebook. See you later. This is Dawn Boyer.